You have proposed reviewing Social Security rather than having it be what's called an entitlement, which means it goes on.
You're putting words in my mouth.
All right, sir.
I was talking about.
That was right-wing, Trump-worshiping Republican Senator Ron Johnson in his debate tonight in Wisconsin against our next guest, Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes. Today, President Biden said this about Ron Johnson's plan to cut Social Security and Medicare.
Senator in charge of electing Republicans in the U.S. Senate this year has proposed a plan to put Social Security and Medicare on the chopping block every 5 years. And then there's a senator from Wisconsin, Ron Johnson. He thinks waiting 5 years is too long. And he says Social Security and Medicare should be in the chopping block every single year.
Ron Johnson is echoing Republican senators who've been saying things like that for decades about Social Security. Ron Johnson, who has supported banning all abortions, is now walking back from that position and proposing a statewide referendum for Wisconsin voters to decide the future of abortion in Wisconsin.
The question that has to be answered is, at what point does society have the responsibility to protect life? It's just that simple.
When you take a position like that, there's so much that you don't always see. Let's talk about Texas as an example. There's a woman who had to be hooked up to a breathing machine because she had complications with her pregnancy and could not get an abortion. A 10-year-old girl in Ohio was raped and had to cross state lines to get an abortion. That's Ron Johnson's America. The senator would rather make a political point than to do the right thing to protect families and to protect the health of women.
When Ron Johnson tried to portray himself as a supporter of law enforcement, this happened.
Whenever I see a police officer, I go up to him and I say, thank you for your service. And if I have time, I say, please don't be dispirited by the loud few who are trying to defund you.
I'm sure he didn't have the same interaction with the 140 officers that were injured during the January 6th insurrection. One officer was stabbed with a metal stake, another crushed between a revolving door, another hit in the head with a fire extinguisher. So when we talk about respect for law enforcement, let's talk about the 140 officers that he left behind because of an insurrection that he supported.
Joining us now is Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin, Mandela Barnes. He's Wisconsin's Democratic candidate for United States Senate. Thank you very much for joining us tonight after this debate. What do you, for you, what is the most important point that Ron Johnson made in the debate that you need to answer?
Well, the thing is, Ron Johnson can't be trusted. Ron Johnson can't defend his dangerous position on abortion. He supported 8 different national abortion bans, some with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the life of the mother. He can't defend his position on January 6th. He can't defend his position when it comes to shipping good-paying jobs out of state and overseas. Ron Johnson continues to leave working people behind. He definitely cannot be trusted with our health or to keep us safe. But I'll tell you, there are some big money interests that are supporting him. Ron Johnson has had an unprecedented sum of money that has been dumped into this race to try to discredit me. And we need help. If folks can go to MandelaBarnes.com, it will make a huge difference to get rid of this person who does not care about your rights, who would absolutely vote to support another national or to support a national abortion ban. Someone who would go to the same lengths that he went to last time to overturn a free and fair election if he doesn't like the results.
The latest poll shows you in a straight tie, 47-47 with Ron Johnson. But a poll of the people of Wisconsin on issues of abortion shows only 5% support for a total ban on abortion, which has historically been the Ron Johnson position on this, even though he seems to be trying to get away from that position that is supported only by 5% of the people in Wisconsin. Where is abortion in the priority list for voters in Wisconsin?
This is an issue of freedom. This is about personal choice, people's rights. And politicians shouldn't be able to get in the way of women making this decision. And doctors shouldn't be criminalized for guiding women through the most difficult decision of their lives. I'm an only child. but I'm not my mother's only pregnancy. My mother had a pregnancy before I was born that was complicated. She had to get an abortion. Under Ron Johnson's plan, my mother would have been criminalized for making the best decision for her health. It's too out of touch and too extreme. It's personal for me as it is personal for so many others across the state and so many others across the country. People are way closer to abortion stories than they may even realize. And that's why Ron Johnson is trying to walk back, but he cannot, because the evidence is clear. And he talks about this referendum because he knows that that is not reality. It'll never happen.
The Social Security issue is something that Republicans they've been saying things like what Ron Johnson has been saying for decades, literally for decades. But usually when they say it, they do get in trouble politically, and they tend to run away from it, as we seems to be that's what Ron Johnson was doing in the debate tonight. He has said that Social Security should come up for regular funding reviews. There should be nothing automatic about it. You should absolutely have no right to get a cost of living increase in Social Security automatically because the cost of living has gone up. And in this era of inflation, the cost of living increase for Social Security is the largest it has been in many years. Ron Johnson and many Republicans have always opposed that. What was he saying tonight about his new position on Social Security?
Well, again, another issue he tried to walk away from. The reality is people have worked their entire lives for the Social Security benefits that they're receiving. Ron Johnson simply doesn't think you should have it. Ron Johnson has only been in it for his wealthy donors. That's why I said when I closed out the debate, if you're a multimillionaire or a donor to his campaign, sure, he might look out for you. But if you're like the rest of us, if you're a working class person in this state, times are going to be tough. He sells out working people every chance he gets. That's what's at stake with this election. People's retirement security, people's right to make their own health care decisions. It's all on the line right now. Ron Johnson has no problem taking that away from you.
Has Ron Johnson pledged to abide by and accept the results of this election?
I don't know if that's clear for sure. I know I certainly have said that I do pledge to accept the results of the election. You have to ask him directly about that one. Well, you saw what happened when he didn't get the election results he liked in 2020. He tried to send fake electors to the vice president, then tried to say his involvement only lasted a matter of seconds.